Judy has been judged and it is found guilty of being a mediocre film. Now, I love me a good biopic, and just recently we've had two others that were pretty decent. Actually, Bohemian Rhapsody, detailing the life of Freddie Mercury, was quite the film, and then recently we've also had Rocket Man, talking about the story of Elton John, and that was rather entertaining. So, where does Judy stack up to those two? Judy is based on the stage play End of the Rainbow, and it translates to film pretty well. Judy Garland had a long career in Hollywood, and unfortunately, in this film, a lot of that isn't touched upon. It basically centers around the end of her life, and it's kind of doesn't really lend itself to getting the history of who Judy Garland was. Anybody in this generation would only know her really for The Wizard of Oz. So I think to give a little bit more history into her career would have benefited this movie quite a bit. To know a little bit more about Judy Garland's life, you've got to include her film history and also touch on her addictions to pills and alcohol, a lot heavier than what they did. And also, it would have been beneficial, I think, especially in this day and age, to touch upon the mental health issues. While there were moments where it really showed like the difficulties that she had, it doesn't really touch a whole lot on why she's having those difficulties. And even though you see her, taking pills and drinking quite a bit, I mean, that doesn't tell the story of how the trajectory of that happened so much. You get little glimpses of Judy's time around the time of The Wizard of Oz, and it doesn't give enough of her home life and those kinds of struggles that really should have made this movie a lot better than what it is. Years ago, there was a television film that was made about the life of Judy Garland, and it was absolutely phenomenal and Emmy Award winning. So I was really kind of hoping that this movie would try to at least come close or top that one, and frankly, it really doesn't. Now onto the acting. I'm not a huge fan of Renee Zellweger by any means. I did like her in Chicago, but anything else that I've seen her in has just been meh. So I wasn't really happy about this casting choice. And then the first trailer popped up and I was just like, oh, okay, alright, so there's something there. And then I found out that Renee was doing her own singing, and that's when I got a little bit scared because Judy has such an iconic voice, and I didn't really think that there was anybody who could do it justice. Now, when Renee nails Judy's performances, she knocks it out of the park, actually. I was really surprised by that. The only thing I would say that took me out of the film was the fact that every once in a while you would get a hint of Renee Zellweger in there, and that it did bring me out of the movie. And I was like, oh, okay, in the, like I said, in the moments that she nails it, and I was really surprised by that. Now on the acting front, she was phenomenal. She really got down to the speech patterns, the mannerisms of who Judy Garland is, and I thought she did a phenomenal job at that. And how they were able to transform her as far as like makeup, they did a really good job. There were sometimes, especially profile shots, where I was just like, cool, wow, she really looks like Judy Garland. Now, Mickey Deans is Judy's last husband. when she died, and he's being portrayed by Finn Wittrock, whom I feel is one of the most underrated actors currently in the biz. He brings a sense of naturalism to every role that he takes on, and this role is no exception. Now, one of the roles that I think was severely undercut in this film is Rufus Sewell as Sidney Luft. And I found him to be absolutely unrecognizable. So when I found out that, Rufus was playing him, I was like, oh, wow, okay. And with what time he had on screen, he did very well with. But I think that there should have been a little bit more of a history between Sid and Judy portrayed in this film. Now, while for most of the time this movie was very entertaining, I didn't feel that any part of it tugged at my heartstrings. I love movie musicals, and the performances were really, really good, but there was nothing that really kind of made me go, ooh, that was a great moment. And overall, I felt the story was lacking. Other than that, the performances were good. And I think overall, I'm going to give this movie 6 out of 10 stars. I thank you so much for watching Film Geek Maniac. There is plenty of other content here on Red and Slim Productions if you feel free to check out. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you want to get notified whenever we upload a video. And as always, love and light to you all.